New rules just went into effect for selling and buying homes that you need to be aware of, friends. If you're going to be looking at buying or selling a home soon, you need to know what's going on with this because it changes everything, I promise you. Congress decided on whether or not to impeach President Biden. We'll give you the updates on that. Eggs nationwide hitting new price highs. And we'll give you an update on the protests outside the Democratic National Convention. And, of course, we got a whole bunch of updates for you guys coming from all over that you guys are sending in. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in, mixed in with a little bit of news updates to keep you informed on what's going on out there in the world. If you have something to share with us, make sure you do use the word update somewhere in your comment on this video or on any video on this channel. You can even put it on one of the posts, and that gets it to the right place. If you're not checking out the posts, by the way, I am posting deals as best I can find them out there to save you money. If you save money on the food that you're buying at home or the things that you're buying, that means you can just stock up more stuff, right? So that's an important thing. That's in the community tab. And if you're on mobile devices, it actually shows up in your feed too. Before we dive in, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help those who have retirement accounts get into silver, gold, and platinum. So if you have this stock or that stock, if you have mutual funds, with the stock market the way it is, this is probably a good time to pivot from those fake businesses who are really losing money more and more these days into precious metals. There's a storm coming. Does your portfolio, does your retirement account look like you're prepared for a storm? If you want to discuss that more with Jonathan and his team at Genesis Gold, there will be a link at the end of the video. So, U.S. Congress the House of Representatives has decided that Joe Biden is incompetent to stand for impeachment. Just like previously the Joe Biden Department of Justice found him incompetent to stand trial, yet somehow competent to be in charge of the Department of Justice. So you can't stand for trial, but you can actually still be in charge, which is absolutely insane. So instead of impeachment proceedings, we have gotten from the House of Representatives a 291-page letter. I don't think we can call that a slap on the wrist, but rather I don't even know what to call it. The House of Representatives, whether they just didn't think that they had the votes to actually vote for impeachment, or whether they just, I don't know. It's astonishing. In the letter, they lay out that President Biden actively participated in impeachable offenses. But we're not going to impeach him. So you can read through the letter, and it lists the crimes and alleged crimes that he has committed, high crimes and misdemeanors against the American people. But it also kind of shows that most Republicans in Congress are more aligned with their Democrats in Congress than they are with the American people. That is the truth out there. Protests at the Democratic National Convention, they had breached the outer perimeter. Arrests were made, and there were Al-Qaeda flags, support for Hamas, widespread all over the place. It was a little jarring also in the videos to see the blue helmets of the Chicago PD because they look very much like the Smurf helmets of the UN. And more people should call the United Nations Smurfs because it is funny as anything. That's what working overseas and working in working with refugee centers and stuff like that, and people and organizations that work with them. That's where the term Smurfs really originated from, because the UN soldiers and stuff like that usually have such strict rules of engagement that they're as harmless as Smurfs. So, all right. So the average egg prices in the U.S. are back up over $4 per dozen. This is the average price across the United States. It's only the second time ever that eggs have been this expensive in the U.S. The end of 2022, when we had that, when the eggs just disappeared, right? And you couldn't find eggs for the life of you, and the prices just went skyrocketing up. They peaked out at $5.22, but right now we're seeing the price of eggs are skyrocketing. We warned you that this was coming and kind of were giving you a heads up on that, but it's here. And people either need to stop buying eggs or the price will continue going up until they do. Basic economics, right? Or if you're Kamala Harris, you can just tell everyone to stop selling them for so expensive. And then we'll just run out of eggs. And the farmers will go out of business. Heather says, Southwest Mississippi, Walmart has been very, very low on chicken and milk for the last month. Report from Lone Star Skywatcher. The state health department is stopping all livestock crossings into Texas from the Oklahoma border. Nobody knows why, and nobody's seen them ever do that before, but they've been out there stopping livestock trucks for several weeks. Well, the answer is bird flu. That's why. That's why they're doing it. The cattle are testing positive for bird flu, and Texas doesn't want any bird flu coming across the border from Oklahoma, and so they're stopping all cattle from coming into the state. And we're seeing this is a big issue. Bird flu amongst the cattle is really messing with the beef industry right now. The cattle industry and the beef industry are being impacted by bird flu, and they will continue to be. If a cow or a steer or whatever comes into the processing facility and they test positive for bird flu, they do not chop it up and sell it, right? It gets scrapped. It gets buried. They will not do that. And we have the U.S. Department of Agriculture is actually testing at slaughter plants, slaughterhouses. They are actually testing for bird flu. And if they find it, those cattle are not being processed, even though there is not necessarily a risk to humans, as we can tell, but that is being affected right now. So if you have cattle that happen to have bird flu, what do you do with that? I mean, you can kind of keep them around and hopefully they get better and they don't have bird flu later, and then you can turn them into hamburger. But you can't send them to the cattle yard. This is from I Love Michigan. The Border Patrol in Michigan is asking people to report any suspicious activity on the lakes. We might be getting a surge of people coming through Canada. I don't understand why. They can just come through Mexico like everybody else. Come up. I mean, they get free money and all sorts of stuff from U.S.-based nonprofits who are giving them money. Literally giving them free money, feeding them, giving them free housing across Mexico and South America as they come north. Trisket says, seen this post on a Facebook prepper page last night from a trucker. His company has put a hold on all further travels to border cities due to monkeypox concerns. Now, I think that's probably not necessary, but apparently at least one trucking company is deciding to stop sending trucks down that way. Anita says, I am seeing gas shortages at several gas stations. Racetrack, 7-Eleven, and Shell had pumps covered up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So we hadn't seen issues with gas down in Florida, but now we're seeing some. I'm not sure what's going on with that because we don't really necessarily have a shortage of gasoline here in the United States. We don't have major refineries out of whack. We should have plenty of gasoline, and the U.S. Department of Energy says we have plenty of gasoline, plenty of diesel, all that stuff on hand. But yet we seem to be seeing these hiccups all over the country. Maybe it's a trucking issue. Maybe it's just something else going on. Maybe it's hacking. I don't know. We'll keep looking for it. Debbie says, went to Walmart in Danville, Virginia last night. Dairy low. Milk and sour cream especially, with some fronting as well. We're going to get into the changes to the real estate agent fees coming up, which is a big deal. It's a little complicated, and we're not sure exactly how it's going to look out, but in the end, it should actually be a positive for sellers and buyers. But actually, it might be less awesome for buyers, but we'll get into that. Not buying it says, okay, so that's the gas stations. Joseph in Decatur, Texas. Many food shelves are empty. Manager said that this is due to the stockers not showing up, though. And yet, we keep hearing that there's not enough jobs, but then we keep hearing that there's not enough workers. And that doesn't make sense, except for the fact that it seems like these companies are just unwilling to hire enough people. They just want the existing workers to work lots and lots of overtime and not hire more workers. It's getting harder to fire people. It's getting harder to lay people off. So it seems like they don't want to overstaff as they go into a recession. So we're seeing these companies not hiring, and yet then we see that they don't have enough staff. And it's just, it doesn't make sense. And I know a bunch of you guys are facing this in real life. This is from Homestead Gal. Be aware that there are new national laws in the real estate business, and they went into effect August 17th. It involves those buyer-seller fees to the agents. Beware, if you are in the market to buy or sell real estate now, a major change to the way home buyers and sellers pay real estate agent commissions goes into effect this month, which was actually on the 17th. There will be negotiation on each end. Now, before it was just like, this is what it is. Now it's like they have to determine. It's not guaranteed that a buyer's agent will be paid by the listing side anymore. So normally it's, the seller pays both real estate agents, right? And the buyer doesn't have to pay it. But that's not set in stone anymore. Home buyers can no longer count on the commission for their agent being paid by the seller. They must enter into an agreement with their agent before they tour any houses to determine how the agent will be paid. Given that real estate agents and brokers are not attorneys at law, it might be prudent to invest in your own attorney before conducting any business with real estate agencies, especially because a contractual agreement must be signed before you even tour properties. So, over the years, basically, usually you're looking at a 5 to 6% of the sale price of the home gets split between the buyer and seller's real estate agents. I don't know. Most of the time it's 3% and 3%, but in some places it has been more like 2.5%, 2.5% if it's negotiated out like that. But basically, the National Association of Realtors got sued for acting like a monopoly because they've been acting like a monopoly. And I know some of you guys are real estate agents, and so you definitely have the perspective of a real estate agent. You work hard for your money and everything. But people selling homes and buying homes also have a perspective on this, which is that with all the computers these days and the ability to do a lot of the paperwork by computers and automated, 3% of $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And, is there a more efficient way to do it? Maybe, but up until now, the National Association of Realtors has made it impossible for anyone to buy and sell in other ways, or to make it very, very difficult for people to buy and sell. And basically, it's been acting like a cartel or a monopoly. And so if you're a buyer of a home, if you're trying to buy a home or buy real estate, this could be a problem for you because historically the seller has paid for your real estate agent. So this may make things more complicated. If you're a seller, this could be a very good news to you. But it's kind of all coming out right now, and nobody really knows how this is going to work. And so it's complicated right now. Is it going to be a good thing? Is it going to be a bad thing? For some people, it's probably going to be a good thing. Right now, it's just creating a lot of confusion out there. And maybe the real estate agents can clarify some things on how things should go or how things can go. But it's understandable that the real estate agents are like, well, if I'm not guaranteed a certain commission, I need to get this in contract form before we go out anywhere. I don't know about you guys. I had to sign a contract form before I was taken out by my real estate agent buying this house back years ago, right? And so that's not anything new, but the fact that it's open to negotiation and that it's more complicated now might be something you need to be aware of. You may be able to save significant amounts of money on a home purchase or on your sale of a home by being aware of what's going on and making sure that you're being represented well and to your advantage, right? All right. You can Google that and search that out now that you are aware of it if you weren't already. Sasha says, "Hi, Steve. I know everyone has been buying large bulk rice." And this is kind of a practical tip. I'm actually buying large boxes of minute rice from Sam's Club and putting that in Mylar. It might be more expensive, but in an SHTF situation, when the stuff starts hitting the fan, do you really have the time and gas, if power is out, to cook regular rice when all you have to do is boil water for minute rice? Put a lid on it and wait 5 minutes. Just another option. So that's a good point. You stock food, but you always have to ask the question, how are you going to cook this? Especially rice and beans. It takes a lot to get rice and beans up to an edible state. If you get freeze-dried stuff, it's a lot easier. And minute rice is kind of like freeze-dried. It's not freeze-dried, but it acts more like freeze-dried than not. Maybe it is actually freeze-dried. I don't know. But anyway, so if you are going to have trouble cooking or heating up your food, minute rice might actually make more sense for you. It's going to be more expensive, but you don't have to worry as much about the cooking time. Mix that with some canned beans, and you can have that done very quickly. I will say this, though. Instead of minute rice, another option for you is to have regular rice and beans, but have pressure cookers. If you're going to be cooking over fire, like wood fire, make sure that your pressure cooker doesn't have lots of plastic on it, because plastic handles do not work well on a campfire. Now, if you build a good rocket stove out of cinder blocks, that will work probably pretty okay. But it's probably better to make sure you have pressure cooker or pressure cookers that are stovetop designs, and in addition to that, don't have plastic handles that are exposed to the flames, because that's just not good. So pressure cookers can cook beans and rice very quickly. That's what they're there for, right? I mean, it's good for canning stuff, but it's also good for cooking rice and beans very quickly. So that's another thought there. That's the route I've gone. I have access to wood here to burn firewood to cook on, and I have solar and stuff like that too. And due to that, I have rice and beans in regular state, and then I have pressure cookers that I can use to make that a lot faster, right? All right, friends, thanks so much for joining us. Please keep your updates coming in. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.